I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is Strong Moves. And that is because you may be thinking of moving ahead with more assurance right now, or more self-confidence, as you decide to make a strong move yourself. And the planets are really with you, and that's because the planets are doing that. And to start with, the sun is trining the moon, which is exalted. The sun in Virgo is trining the moon, which is exalted in Taurus. And so that's the lights. And together they are trining Saturn in Pluto, which is direct right now, and is Saturn in Capricorn, which is direct, and it is the ruler of the sign. And so these three planets, the lights, and a very powerful Saturn at home in the sign it rules, simply means that if you've got something really practical on your mind, or if you're sort of tending to business right now, or you're thinking ahead about your career in one way or another, then you may be rather confident that you can make a strong move right now. And that's because there aren't just 3 planets in the earth signs, there are 6 planets there, which means that there's sort of a lot of strength right now. And that's because the sun and Mars are in Virgo. They are trining the exalted moon and Uranus in Taurus, and together those 4 planets are trining both Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. And that simply means that the things that the earth signs represent can have some very positive outcomes right now. So for instance, bankers or parents or anyone in a service occupation like a teacher or a nurse or a doctor or a social worker or a policeman or a fireman, people who want to, or a community volunteer, anybody who wants to be of service to anybody else, can be feeling empowered right now to do that and make their strong moves, which would be great. So it simply means that strong moves can be made by a lot of people with a lot of firm resolution and determination, which is good for everyone. And that means that they can be in agreement about practical things such as financial considerations, or perhaps new policies and procedures that they could form and go ahead and follow, or renegotiating some sort of legal agreement, or even refining the terms in some sort of reorganization that has to take place. So those things are really well emphasized right now. However, there are still a total of 3 retrograde planets in the heavens, but they are all in good aspect as well. And that is because Uranus is in Taurus, but it's retrograde in a financial sign, and it is sextiling Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces and is retrograde in Pisces. And then Neptune in Pisces is sextiling Pluto, which is retrograde in Capricorn, and that Pluto in Capricorn is trining that Uranus in Taurus. So all of these planets are either trining or sextiling each other, which are retrograde. And when planets go retrograde, it simply means it's a good time to go back and reconsider things, or make sure you haven't skipped any important steps. And so because of these good aspects among the retrograde planets, it simply means that more people are willing to sort of think things over right now and perhaps modify their viewpoints, or even change their priorities in one way or another. They're sort of looking things over again and deciding, well, okay, I'm willing to do that. And that could be really great right now. So where will all of this lead? Well, with Venus conjuncting Mercury in Libra, then all the things in Libra are well favored. And Libra, since Venus is the ruler of Libra, Libra rules peace and partnership. It rules love and marriage. It rules beauty and the arts, and it rules diplomacy and tact and negotiation. It also rules reconciliation and compromise. And above all, Libra rules the law and all legal contracts. And so all of those things are favored right now. So people can be deciding that they may want to settle for some sort of compromise. They could be okay with that right now. Or they may want to go ahead and reconsider the terms of some sort of agreement, maybe sort of tweak them a little bit to make them a little more palatable and acceptable. Or they may decide to go ahead and rework and get some better output or input about some sort of negotiation, some sort of legal negotiation right now. So all of that is well favored. And that simply means that if strong moves are made right now, they could eventually result in a negotiated settlement or in some sort of legal contract or even a treaty, which would be great. However, at the same time, we have got to realize that treacherous enemies can also be preparing to make strong moves. And that is because the three malefic planets, Mars, Saturn, and Uranus, are all trining each other. Remember, Mars is in Virgo, it's trining Uranus in Taurus, and those two planets are trining Saturn in Capricorn. And that simply means that treacherous enemies can really be working pretty hard and in a very dedicated way to go forward with an evil intent. The only thing wrong with all of that right now for them is that their once deep pockets that had a lot of money in them have holes in them right now. And both their financial resources and their power are ebbing, which could be good. Because if they're making a strong move, but say you or someone else is making a stronger move, maybe the fact that they're a little weaker is going to turn the tide in your favor right now, and that would be a good thing. So this is a time when, as long as you're doing something real practical, or you're addressing a problem of some sort, or you're willing to change your mind in one way or another, your strong moves could turn out to be very successful. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, I think that you need to be addressing some kind of practical issue that certainly has to do with money or the high price of something. And that's because the exalted moon and Uranus are right ahead of your sun sign in Taurus, and they are being trined beautifully by another two planets in Capricorn and also in Virgo. So the strength is in the earth signs, and we all have to sort of get back to basics right now and pay attention to really good problem solving. So there can be something that you need to address that is that involves a financial consideration, Aries. And I think that you're just going to have to face the facts of something and try to do something about it. So you may be concerned with the fluctuation in the value of your investments, or you may be concerned with the high cost of living right now. Or, for instance, since Jupiter in Sagittarius is still trining your sun, you may have your mind on some high-priced travel right now, or high-priced educational course, and you can be wondering, you know, how to make some sort of strong move so that you can afford everything right now. And I think what you need to do is be real practical about the cost of something and about your resources, and try to get your budget a little bit better aligned with what your goals are right now. If you work at it, I think you can do that. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a wonderful time for you because, as I said, you know, we can all be making strong moves right now with assurance and more self-confidence because the lights in particular are with us. And that's because the sun in Capricorn is trining the exalted moon in your sign, and they're also trining Saturn in Capricorn. But the 6 planets that are there, in other words, the sun and Mars, and the exalted moon and Uranus in your own sign, and Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, simply mean that you have a rare opportunity to really move forward in your career or in some sort of investment And since your sign rules investments, I think you should concentrate on that, Taurus, because I think you might have your mind on buying and selling. In other words, if you own an investment and it has appreciated nicely, this might be a time when you decide you want to sell it. Well, why don't you give that a try, Taurus? Because Venus is in Libra. Venus is your ruler, and it is conjuncting Mercury, and Mercury rules Gemini. Both of those planets are trining Gemini, which is the sign right ahead of your own, and Gemini rules buying and selling. This would be an optimum time for you to consider perhaps buying or selling a home or remodeling it in order to increase the value of it. That would be a good idea too. So good luck, because I think if you decide to make a strong move and you are balanced in your approach, you're going to be successful. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, life is going to get better for you. And that is because Venus is actually at 6 degrees of Libra today. And 6 is the number of Libra. It's the number of harmony and balance and fairness and love, all the things that Libra represents. And that Venus is conjuncting Mercury, your own ruler, which is at 9 degrees of Libra today. And so that simply means that you're aspected to join with a very nice partner right now, somebody who really can want the best for everybody, and who also may have a good legal background, or you could get some excellent legal advice right now that could really help you out and sort of steer you in the right direction, Gemini. Or it could just be, if you've got love on your mind or someone else has got that, that could be pretty nice for you too, Gemini. But I think what it really means overall is that the things that your sign rules, which are buying and selling, short journeys, short forms of education, certainly communication or making some sort of deal, all of those things are enhanced by the trine of Venus and Mercury conjuncting each other and trining your sun sign. So I think this is an excellent time for you to make a strong move, but I think you should think about doing it with someone else. You could even ask someone else with a good legal background to do your speaking for you. They would be happy to do that. So I think somebody in your life is going to come into your life that's going to be extremely helpful to you, Gemini, and I hope you say thank you and appreciate them. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is a time when I think that you are going to have to sort of take things with a grain of salt right now. And the reason why is that even though Neptune in Pisces, which is retrograde, is trining your sun, it simply means that there's going to be more information coming out about people or things you didn't know before being revealed, and you may or may not be disillusioned by what you learn. However, you have other things you have to worry about instead of what's going on behind the scenes, Cancer, and that is because some planets are now moving into cardinal signs, and yours is a cardinal sign. So now Saturn, which is direct and is conjuncting Pluto in Capricorn, those two planets are very forcefully opposing your sun sign, particularly Saturn, since it's direct now. And then Venus and Mercury in Libra are also squaring your sun right now. When Venus and Saturn square or oppose each other, that's an indication of a betrayal. So you may be a little bit disillusioned this week by some sort of betrayal or the possibility of it. And I think it's something that is not in your hands at all, Cancer. In other words, somebody in a corporation or a government agency could decide to change their policies or their procedures in one way or another, or maybe cut their budget, and that would somewhat adversely affect you. Or it can be that if you are in some sort of legal dispute, you may not win the whole thing. There may be some hang up there or some change there that you'd have to sort of wait on. And so I think this is why you need to take what happens this week with a grain of salt, Cancer. And just remember, you yourself, I don't think, have too much to lose. It's powers beyond your control that are making changes that you may not agree with. But if I were you, I would simply go home and close the door and enjoy what you do have, Cancer, because I don't think you're being personally threatened, but there could be a career or a policy matter that you don't like right now, but that you can't do anything about either. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when I think that you can be contemplating something that is very high-minded. You may be wanting a legal dispute to come out in a way that is favorable for the maximum number of people. Since Jupiter in Sagittarius is trining your sun, that would be great. And you can be helped along, or you can be enjoying the company of some new partners or people that are just new friends, because Venus in Libra is sextiling your sun, Leo. So you have all that to look forward to. And you may be willing, like so many people are right now, to modify your viewpoint, or even to change your priorities right now based on a re-examination of facts or of terms. So you can be more flexible right now. The one thing you can't afford in any way is to gamble with anything. I also think there is something that you're thinking of, Leo, and it has gotten too high priced. You really can't afford that. And that is because the exalted moon and Uranus in Taurus are squaring your sun. So suddenly the price of something could go up, and my suggestion to you, since Venus and Mercury are sextiling your sun, is that you try something that is a more temporary solution, or if you're, say, planning an expensive trip, could you shorten it up a little bit into something that fits in your budget a little bit better? You can give that a try as well. Or if you're thinking of making some very expensive investment, but you realize that it's too high priced now, is there another way that you could sort of lower your sights a little bit and still be happy? You could find that, Leo. Just so, you know, don't take a gamble on anything, but just try to be more flexible, because I think that that'll work out well for you. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time when you certainly can sort of be in the driver's seat, because there are 6 planets in the Earth signs. And that means the Sun and Mars in your sign are trining the exalted moon and Uranus in Taurus, and Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. So yes, you could have more assurance and self-confidence, and you may decide to go ahead and make a strong move. That's fine. You would certainly have the energy for it, since Mars is conjuncting the Sun in your sign, Virgo. But the problem is that yours is a mental sign, and Virgos like their solitude. You may actually be a little too busy right now, Virgo, or you could be too stressed out by something, and therefore you could have be a little bit impatient and sort of have harsh words at times for others that they would not appreciate. And so, you know, Mars is not a loving planet, and it is in your sign. You're going to have to find a way to modify or be more diplomatic in your approach to others. But if you respond to stress by being more dogmatic, you can make a strong move. It may not be appreciated by too many people, Virgo. So it is much better, since Venus and Mercury, your own ruler, are conjuncting, and they're in Libra right ahead of your sun sign. It would be better if you sort of came forward in a more peacemaking mood, if you can. And if you feel too stressed out, just take a break. You've been working hard, you probably deserve one, so I hope you do take one. It'll make you and everyone else happier. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, you could sure be in the mood for love, Libra. You could be looking real good too, because Venus is conjuncting Mercury in your sign, which is wonderful. There aren't any planets in any of the other air signs, but you have got your ruler in your own sign right now, Libra, and that means you can be very charming. You can also make friends, new friends, or even partners with other people who are very charming as well. In fact, if you just sort of open up a little bit right now, Libra, delightfully nice people can come into your life, and you could communicate with them or make contact with them or meet them on a short trip or even in a class that you're taking. So you really do need to socialize and get out among people right now, Libra, because very nice people are going to be drawn to you, and you can be seen at your best right now. So I hope you go right ahead and try to charm everyone right now, Libra. It'll do you a world of good. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when I think that you too, just like Leo, can be facing something that you're contemplating that is a little more expensive than you can really afford. And that is because the exalted moon and Uranus are in Taurus and they are opposing your sun sign. And so, you know, even if you had the money to go ahead with an investment of some sort, it might take your last dollar, Scorpio. So where would your reserve account be? You wouldn't have one. And everyone needs one these days because Uranus is a very volatile planet. It is the planet of sudden surprising change. Unfortunately, for the next 7 years, it is in Taurus. And Taurus is a financial sign ruling how you make your money, what you spend it on, and all of your investments. No one can afford to take a gamble in the next 7 years. So it looks to me, Scorpio, as if you are going to have to sort of rely on very nice situations that and people that can be in the background of your life. In fact, you can be protected by some sort of legal judgment or policy or procedure that someone is deciding to put into practice, because Venus and Mercury are right behind your sun sign in Libra, and that means you're going to have some sort of protection against something. Somebody's going to do you a favor behind the scenes, Scorpio, and that's nice. But that doesn't negate the idea that you really cannot afford to spend your last nickel right now on anything. You have to be more practical and try to pare your goals down to something that will fit in your budget, or else just relax and enjoy your friendships behind the scenes instead. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, this is a time with Jupiter in your sign and direct that you can certainly have your mind on very high-minded ideals and wanting the best for everybody. I think you've had that on your mind all year long. And so that's good. It's also good that you too could make a strong move aided by others, by partners, or by just nice friends that you know, because Venus has now moved into Libra. Remember, it's been squaring your sun, but now it's moved into Libra along with Mercury, and it's sextiling your sun where you have Jupiter. This is very good for a lot of peacemaking or a way to improve a lot of relationships, no matter what your sun sign is, because Venus in Libra, which rules that sign, is sextile Jupiter in your sign, which rules that sign. In other words, the two best planets are at home, and they're very strong in the sign they rule. That's going to be good for everybody. So try to look for happiness right now and for fulfillment, Sagittarius. You won't find it everywhere, but it could be a little closer to home than you think. And so that is a possibility now. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, Saturn is now direct in your sign. You really do have some very good insight right now toward your goals and what you want to do. If you have a problem, you have some real good ideas about how to solve that. You also now have a very good sense of the timing of how to fulfill the plans that you have in mind. So that's all really good. So it's you, Capricorn, that really could make a strong move right now if you wanted to. And it certainly should be towards something that is extremely long-lasting. So there could be a variety of things that you like doing, but what is going to give you the greatest security for as long as possible? That's what you ought to go for. It could be something that involves problem solving or additional work, or certainly your career, because the Capricorn is the traditional ruler of the 10th house of career. So you have a lot to concentrate on. I don't really see anything stopping you except the possibility that there may be a betrayal around, because Venus and Gemini in Libra are squaring Saturn and Pluto in your own sign. And that simply means that even if it's not a betrayal by a person, it could be a change in the laws or a change in some legal terms that can be a little problematic for you, but that you are going to have to adhere to anyway. And so it may not be permanent, it may not be forever, but you still are going to have to sort of go by any new kind of a legal settlement, the terms of it that come out right now. That's nothing's going to stop you right now, Capricorn. It's just that you'll still have to do things other people's way, just a little bit. But nothing is going to stop your strength right now. So go ahead and make a strong move. I'm sure it'll be the right one. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, your life's going to get a lot better too. And that is because Venus is conjuncting Mercury in Libra, and they're both trining your sun, Aquarius. Your sign rules the future. And I don't think that people can necessarily count on a guarantee of a good financial future, particularly not you, Aquarius, because your own ruler, Uranus, along with the exalted moon in Taurus, they're both squaring your sun sign. But you really can count on good partners being attracted to you, or good legal terms or peacemaking terms that can satisfy you right now. So if you've had a problem that's been a little thorny this year, this is a time when it can really get solved, Aquarius. It's just that you, just like everyone else, cannot afford to take a financial gamble of any kind. Buying and selling is favored. You might want to sell something, but I would think twice about reinvesting it. Maybe you should just hang on to some money right now, Aquarius. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time when everyone can make a strong move if they want to. Yours is a nature that doesn't like to come on too strong toward anyone else because you have a gentle nature. And it can be that this is a time when you need to sort of re-examine the facts about something, because remember, with the 3 retrograde planets that are in such good aspect, Neptune in your sign is sextiling Saturn in Capricorn, but it's also sextiling Uranus in Taurus. That means that, you know, this is a good time for you to consider modifying your viewpoint on something, or perhaps changing your priorities, or perhaps agreeing to some sort of compromise, Pisces, or just sort of trying to float along or get along with other people. The important thing to do is avoid treacherous enemies, and they could be around you, Pisces, or people that don't have your best interests at heart. So what you see, Mars is opposing your sun sign, Jupiter is squaring it. And so what you've got to do is try to calm down a little bit right now. Take it easy, rest, go to sleep, Pisces. Don't worry about anything right now, but try to back off from anything that seems problematic. You don't need to get involved. I'd avoid it if I were you. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. You can see